Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I wanted to focus on the ins and outs of wheel and tire size combos for fat biking. And this is especially important if you're looking to run a max traction, max flotation combo for the winter and a smaller, faster rolling setup for the summer. So I just want to go over the basic factors involved in these choices because I do hear a lot of misconceptions in the comments or people that reach out to me directly. So I just wanted to clear up a few things and give some basic information. So before we get into the actual details, I did want to cover these three main points to know. So the first point is the length of the contact patch is more important than the width. And the contact patch is literally the point where the tire contacts the ground. And a lot of people think it's kind of a circle or a square, but it's actually more of an oblong shape, especially as you wear it down, which we'll talk about later. Key point number 2 is that taller tires have a longer contact patch. And key point number 3 is that wider tires are taller, which directly relates to key point number 2 and number 1. So I'm going to change the view of the camera and we're going to go through all of these examples and compare and contrast the differences. Okay, so looking at my 6 examples here, I'm just going to run through what they are just so you know. So the first one here is my 27.5 by 4 inch. Next up is a 26 inch wheel with a 4.8 inch tire. Next up is another 26 inch wheel with a 4.3 inch tire. And then yet another 26 inch wheel with a 4 inch tire. And then I threw in, just for reference, a comparison, a 29er. So this is a 29 by 2.35. And then last, which we'll talk about here in a bit, is another 29er plus. So this is 29 inches in diameter by 3 inch tire size. So going into more detail on point number 1, which is the length of the contact patch being more important than the width. For fat biking, wider tires obviously perform better than more narrow, hence the fat bike concept. But width has a marginal impact within fat biking. And the main benefit is because wider tires are taller and therefore provide a much longer contact patch. And just to give you an older mountain bike reference, just to kind of demonstrate this, if you look at the differences between 26 inch mountain bike tires and 29 inch wheel and tires, they would often run basically the same width tire. However, because 29ers are so much taller, they gave a much longer contact patch, much more traction, and there's some other benefits on rollover and momentum that we won't really get into too much. But that same concept also applies when you're talking fat bike wheel and tire size. So knowing that the taller tires have a longer patch and wider tires are taller, I'm going to show you these 3 examples kind of in the middle that most easily demonstrate this concept. So first up here is a 26 inch wheel with a 4 inch tire. This is a 26 with a 4.3, and this is the 26 with a 4.8. So if you look, you can clearly see that there is a noticeable difference in the height of these 3 tires. So again, they're all a 26 inch wheel size, but because the tires are wider, it actually makes them taller as well. I think the camera probably skews it a little bit, but there's literally at least an inch between the 4 inch and the 4.8 inch, and obviously the 4.3 is somewhere right in between. So what that means is when you have a wider, taller tire like this 4.8 inch, as you air it down, that's where you gain all of that traction and flotation effect that we all love when we're fat biking in the snow. And because this tire is drastically taller than the 4 inch, when you air them both down, you end up with much more traction and flotation with the larger tire. So now shifting over to the 27.5, if you compare that, so this is 27.5 inch wheel size with a 4 inch tire, and again 26 inch tire with a 4.8 inch tire, so much wider, more volume in the tire here. But as you can see, because of the larger wheel size, the 27.5 actually has about the same, maybe even slightly more overall diameter. So what that means is just by using a larger wheel size with even a significantly less wide tire, you can gain a similar contact patch to a smaller wheel with a much larger tire. And another benefit to that is having less tire mass. You know, tires are really heavy, so you can typically get a lighter, faster rolling setup and maintain most of the traction advantage by using the larger size wheel. And the other factor is because it's less wide, there's less rolling resistance involved. So even though you're going to get a lot of that traction with the longer contact patch, it will be a little narrower and potentially faster rolling and more efficient if that's a factor. And again, running a smaller size, you can still have most of that rollover and momentum effect that larger wheels typically grant. And then another factor to consider, I don't have an example of it myself, but you can actually put an even larger tire on here, so something like a 27.5 by 4.5, and get even closer volume to this tire here but doing so with the taller tire, it would be even taller than this and grant similar volume to the 4.8. So you might be asking, if you can get most of the benefits just by going up in wheel size and running smaller tires, why would you even consider running a 26 by 4.8 or something like that? And the primary reason or benefit for running this combo is that the smaller wheel with the larger, wider volume tire does give you more sidewall and more tire volume, and that actually can be beneficial in certain types of terrain, typically more extreme terrain. In my experience, riding really rocky mountainous terrain, having that extra sidewall and tire volume, especially on a fully rigid fat bike, can definitely have advantages there, giving you some of that suspension effect, comfort, traction, and it'll give you more distance between rim strikes, again, if you are riding in really rocky terrain. So some other factors you want to be aware of if you do have a smaller wheel bike, like a 26-inch tire fat bike like these three here, and you're thinking, I'm going to run big tires for the winter, get maximum traction and flotation, and I'm just going to put smaller tires on for the summer and have something that's faster rolling, lighter, more nimble. And it's not that you can't do that, you certainly can, but you do want to be aware of a few things that can cause. So as you can see, if you go from this tire to this tire, you're going to lose about 1 inch in overall diameter, which what that's going to do, that's actually going to lower your bottom bracket by about 1/2 inch. And that can cause things like more pedal strikes if you are riding in more rocky terrain. And it can also just kind of change the geometry and the riding dynamics of the bike and how it feels. So while that may not be a deal breaker, it is definitely something you want to just be aware of and consider before committing to just buying a new smaller set. You just want to make sure you're not surprised if the dynamics of how the bike feels change. So this is the primary reason why I did include this 29er Plus as an option. What a lot of people will do is they want to go down in tire size, tire volume for the summer. A good way to do that and maintain the performance of your bike, maintain the bottom bracket height and things like that, is to go up in wheel size. So if you look, and I know there's a little bit of distortion here from the camera, but the 29er Plus is about the same, maybe even slightly taller than the 27.5 or the 4.8 on the 26. So this is the way you can go down to a smaller, lighter, faster rolling summer wheel set tire combo and maintain your bottom bracket height and the performance of your bike as it was designed originally from the factory. And a less extreme move, if your bike was spec'd with something like this, a 26 by 4.8 or something, you could go up to a 27.5 and then something like a 3.8 or 4.0 faster rolling tire and still maintain basically that exact same height and get a lighter, faster rolling wheel set, less friction, things like that for the summer. All right guys, I hope you found this quick review of wheel size and tire size and how it impacts fat biking helpful. If you did, please drop a like down below, and if you're enjoying the content I'm bringing you on the channel, definitely subscribe because it does really help out the channel. If you have any questions or comments on the topic or want to add your 2 cents as to what you found that works best for you and why, definitely drop those down below. I have a lot more fat bike content on the way, so definitely stay tuned for that. Thanks a lot and have a great day.